I'm Yulia, the voice of the podcast Love to Heal, a journey of self-discovery, healing, and spiritual growth. This past weekend, I attended 2 great Shavuot events, so I wanted to share with you all about them. First off, what is Shavuot? Shavuot is a Jewish holiday that commemorates the giving of the Torah, namely the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible. And this is when the Torah was given to Moses at Mount Sinai. It's celebrated 7 weeks after Passover, or 50 days after the first day of Passover. Perhaps you listened to my episode about counting the Omer. And if you didn't, I'll just quickly explain. The Omer is counted every evening after nightfall, from the second night of Passover until the night before Shavuot. And the way we do this is we recite a blessing before counting, and then we announce the day number, and it could also be the number of weeks and days, if applicable. And this is why Shavuot is known as a festival of weeks, because we count these 7 weeks until the Torah was given to Moses at Mount Sinai. And traditional celebrations of this holiday include feasts, special prayers, abstaining from work, eating dairy foods, and studying the Torah all night long. The holiday is really a time for renewal, and it serves as a reminder of the covenant between God and the Jewish people. The reason many Jews stay up all night to study the Torah is because they believe that it was given at Mount Sinai on this night. And in fact, this year, my husband and I weren't able to go, but at our synagogue, there was a special class, a special time, which started at 10 p.m. on the first day of Shavuot. And it was for anybody who wanted to come in and study the Torah all night. So maybe when our kids are a little older, my husband and I will take advantage of that special class, that special time. The tradition of eating dairy also on Shavuot, I want to mention, is rooted It's rooted in several symbolic and historical reasons. The most common explanation is that the Torah is likened to milk, which nourishes both the body and the soul. Additionally, the Hebrew word for milk, which is halav in Hebrew, has a numerical value of 40. And this number coincides with the 40 days that Moses spent on Mount Sinai receiving the Torah. So again, there's a lot of symbolism here, and we could dig even deeper, but I'll leave it at this for now. So the first event that I attended was organized by PJ Library and Partners, and it took place at our local Jewish Community Center. This event included all sorts of kids' activities like arts and crafts, lawn games, music and dancing, and most importantly for kids, an ice cream truck. The dancing was led by a young Israeli woman. She spoke mostly in English, but she did use a lot of Hebrew words that I recognized and taught my kids on the spot. Like, for example, there was a dance and song in which she would repeat the word mayim. Mayim in Hebrew is water. So that was kind of cool. Some words my kids actually already knew from Hebrew school, but also there were a lot of new words for them. If you'd like to see videos and photos from this event, by the way, you can head to my Instagram or TikTok at Love to Heal Podcast. It was interesting also to sort of people watch, which I always do because it's very interesting to me. But there was such a diverse crowd. They were diverse in the degree of religiosity. So some people that attended were clearly Orthodox, Women were wearing head coverings and long skirts, and men were wearing tzitzit and kippas on their heads. Others were probably somewhere in the middle. I would maybe place myself in that crowd. So dressed sort of modestly, and I have been studying and going to classes and going to services at the synagogue. So that's why I'm placing myself in the middle. And then there were others that didn't look observant at all. Who am I to judge, right? I don't know. But there were, let's say, women wearing short skirts, shorts, some maybe revealing tops, and etc. But it's nice because PJ Library and their partners, the Jewish Federation of Cleveland, all these communities are super open, and it really does not matter what level of, religiosity, what level of Jewishness you identify with. It doesn't matter. All these events are open to the public, and so it's just nice to see people getting together, celebrating Judaism. And I would have to say the same for Chabad. What I love about Chabad, and I'll talk about Chabad in just a moment too, is also how open the synagogues are. They accept anybody and everybody, no matter how observant or non-observant you are. So it's just both of these organizations, they're both very welcoming. So it's very nice. Now, while the event was entertaining and the kids definitely enjoyed the activities and the ice cream, I didn't pick up on much educational elements of this holiday, of this celebration. The only sort of educational aspect was in the ice cream topping, which consisted of using 2 cookies to create the shape of the 2 tablets with the commandments on them that Moses received at Mount Sinai. And maybe there were a few books on the topic at the PJ Library corner that they had. But that's really it. There was not a lot of education on the holiday itself. But like I said, it was nice just to celebrate with other fellow Jews, to hear some Hebrew in the songs, to do some dancing, and to just come together and celebrate this holiday. But it was important, I felt, for the parents to explain to the children what exactly we were celebrating and why, because at the event it was not as obvious as I thought it might have been or could have been. However, the following day, June 2nd, my family, we attended our own Chabad's Shavuot celebration. And there, it was very, very clear what holiday we were celebrating and why. I should explain too that Shavuot in the diaspora, in other words, outside of Israel, is celebrated for 2 days, while in Israel, it's only celebrated for 1. And the reason that holidays in general, because this applies to all major holidays in Judaism, the reason that the holidays are celebrated for 2 days in the Jewish diaspora, or more days than they would be celebrated in Israel. Sometimes it's not 2 days, sometimes it's actually more days, depending on the holiday. But this is done to ensure that distant communities observe the holiday on the correct day, because this is determined by the sighting of the new moon, which was once the standard method of calendar calculation. This practice also serves to maintain continuity with ancient traditions and to provide an extra day of celebration and connection for the diaspora communities. At our synagogue, there were several services for Shavuot and also Torah studies available during the 2-day period. I couldn't attend all of them, so I opted for the morning of June 2nd because that's when the kids' program was taking place. My son, who is almost 8, he was invited to read one of the 10 Commandments on stage to the whole congregation with his fellow Hebrew school students. And before entering the sanctuary, this is the place where the praying takes place, my kids and I attended the children's program, and this program involved hearing the story of how Moses received the Torah. I will give you the adult version of the story, but imagine for the kids, the Rebbitzin did a really nice job. She had these 2 cardboard 10 Commandments that she uses every year to demonstrate to kids, what the tablets are, how they looked, and what was written on them. And she would explain in kids' terms what all occurred on Mount Sinai that night. But like I said, I will give you the adult version in case you're not familiar with it. And this is taken from the Chabad's website, chabad.org. And it goes like this, the story. The entire people heard the words of God, and they became frightened. They begged Moses to be the intermediary between God and them. For if God himself would continue to give them the entire Torah, they would surely die. Moses told them not to be afraid, for God had revealed himself to them so that they would fear him and not sin. Then God asked Moses to ascend the mountain, for he alone was able to stand in the presence of God. There Moses was to receive the 2 tablets containing the 10 Commandments and the entire Torah, to teach it to the children of Israel. Moses went up the mountain and stayed there 40 days and 40 nights without food or sleep, for he had become like an angel. During this time, God revealed to Moses the entire Torah with all its laws and the interpretations thereof. Finally, God gave Moses the 2 stone tablets of testimony containing the 10 Commandments written by God himself. So there you go. That's the story in a few words. And so after our Rebbitzin explained all this to the children, then it was time for everyone to enter the sanctuary. We went in quietly because people were already praying there. And I took a seat on the women's side of the room, and my son went on stage. Hearing the 10 Commandments on Shavuot is actually a mitzvah. So this is why everybody sits quietly and listens to the 10 Commandments being recited. After this, the kids sang some songs and some prayers, and soon after it was time for lunch. The service actually continued for a little while longer, but the kids, so they don't disturb the adults, they went to lunch, and I went along with my kids. So when we all got to the outdoor pavilion, it was a really nice day out, so the buffet lunch was set up outside. We got there, and our Rebbitzin led us in Kiddush. This is a blessing recited over wine or grape juice to sanctify either Shabbat or any Jewish holiday, in this case, Shavuot. And we do this before starting to eat. So we did that. And as I mentioned in the beginning, it is traditional to eat dairy on Shavuot. So there was no meat at all during the lunch. It was all dairy, and it was delicious. It was buffet style, and there was lasagna, pasta, quiches, cheese blintzes, which are my favorite. They were just to die for. Lox on bagels with cream cheese, salad bar, all kinds of sweets, fruit, and of course, tons of different ice cream. My stepdaughter, who is 17, she also volunteered there. She first helped watch the kids in the playroom, and then she helped to serve the ice cream during the lunch. So it was really nice. My whole family was there, and we all sat outside and enjoyed the sun and the tasty lunch. So now you know what Shavuot is mainly about. If you didn't celebrate this year, there's always next year. I hope this inspires you to celebrate more and more holidays with your Jewish community. And if you've never been to a synagogue, please go. It's really wonderful. The sense of community is really felt in these places of worship. And so today I will leave you with a poem titled The Festival of Weeks. And this is written by Lupert. It's about this holiday, Shavuot. So enjoy it, and until next time. When we're born, we count our age in days. That quickly changes to weeks, and then months, which lasts for a while, even after a year. But then, it is only years we measure our time by. Imagine if 3 decades in someone proclaimed to be 360 months old. At a certain point, we can only perceive the passage of time in the largest possible increments, the minute-by-minute details lost to our past. Then, once a year after we put the matzah away, we slow it back down to weeks, to savor the passing moments, to establish a yearning for what we will be given. All of us standing at the mountain, as if our flesh was on that soil, as if we spent 40 days looking up, as if we were prepared for the sweetness about to land on our tongues. It is at this point our memory kicks in of miracles we saw through other people's eyes. This book of our past, which we read to guide our future, which we struggle with to understand the why and how of history. The Jewish textbook of our lifelong master class. We are the people of the book, and this is the book. We received it thousands and thousands of weeks ago, before we understood how to separate milk from meat, before Ruth went where she went, before we even knew what a blintz was. We'll do this again in an appropriate number of weeks. I wouldn't plan on getting any sleep tonight. There's too much to know.